What's up, my peeps? What's up, my peeps? Peep, 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 peep. Peep, 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 peep. My peeps. My peep, 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 peeps. So, as you've noticed, my main RPG now is Elix. I'm almost done with Risen. I think all I have left is to kill or re-imprison or whatever it is the Fire Titan, and then I believe I'm done. So I'm going to be focusing mostly on Elix now. Because this game is much bigger in size, it's going to take longer to get through it. So I would like to, if I can, focus more on that game than on other games. So for example, Last Guardian, Until Dawn, and so on. Hopefully it'll be okay with you guys if let's say I do 50% Elix, 25% my miscellaneous game, 25% my horror game. Hopefully that'll be okay to you. It won't be too terrible for you guys. I will, just like I did after the release of Risen 3, be doing an interview with Björn Pankratz from Chronobites. And we'll be talking about Elix, of course, and some different things about that, like why they decided to go with more of a sci-fi bent, and so on. Keep in mind that your questions do not have to specifically be related to Elix, although obviously they can. I would ask, if you have questions about Elix, please keep them spoiler-free. Please. Please don't wreck my playthrough of Elix for me. Please let me still find stuff out on my own and not have it revealed because of your questions. That would be great. I would also say, of course, that other questions are welcome. So, for example, I personally would like to know, in Risen, if there's any friggin' way to save Rufo. Are you friggin' kidding me right now? You show up with Drock, and as soon as Henrik and Jasmine and Rufo get into view, there are a whole bunch of Saurians attacking them. You can't get there in time. I think even with a speed spell, like a speed scroll, I don't think you can get there fast enough. Rufo just goes down before you have a chance to save him. Henrik almost, and Jasmine both almost go down. So I really would like to see if there's some way to save Rufo, but I don't think there is. I mean, obviously not for my playthrough. He died in my playthrough, but it would be nice to know that at some point you can be nice to animals and PETA won't jump on you and get all angry and stuff. But anyway, especially since Rufo was so helpful early in the game, you kind of have a little bit of a bond, and now he just gets like slaughtered by Saurians. Would be nice, but I also, for example, would like to know what is up with Gaurus. Gaurus, the island the Nameless Hero comes from. Because we know he comes from there, and I found online one picture that's supposed to be the docks on the island of Gaurus. But other than that, we know pretty much nothing about Gaurus. It's in the southern seas, where all the other islands are, like Faranga and Kila and the Isle of Thieves and Skull Island and all those. They're all in the southern seas. So we know it's in the southern seas too. That's really about all we know. So it'd be nice to know a little bit more about that. Or maybe what happened in between Risen and Risen 2 in that big battle that pretty much devastated the upper continent. Like, more specifics about that? I don't know. Maybe Björn has the answer. It doesn't have to be specific to that either. For example, Gothic and Gothic 2, between there, what the crapping happened to Mud? We know he died. There's an Easter egg in Gothic 2 where he's a zombie. So we know that Mud died at some point. But nobody knows how. Was it the barrier fell? He pissed some of the other criminals off as they were leaving out of the Valley of the Mines, and so they murdered him and just left him to be dead? Or did he get killed by beasts on the way out to the rest of Corinthus? We don't know, right? So it's another aspect of the story that would be nice to understand, right? They do a good job of explaining, more or less, I think, at the end of Gothic 2, what would have happened if the Sleeper had been released, but since the Sleeper wasn't released, then the Undead Dragon was the next boss, and then of course we know that Zardos wanted to take over once the Undead Dragon was defeated, that he actually wanted to have you defeat the Undead Dragon so he could gain all the power and stuff. So anyway, so there's some good explanation for some of this stuff, but some of the stuff is not really all that well explained. So also, for example, we know what Raven did in setting up everything in the Jarkandar part of the island, right? And we know that he had Claw of Beliar, right? But we don't know his journey either from the Valley of the Mines to that point. Not really. I mean, a little bit. We know he traveled with other criminals as well. But for example, Dexter had a falling out with Raven at some point, right? I don't know that they were ever really friends per se, but they were at least kind of allies, but they had some falling out, right? Because Dexter did not go with Raven over to Jarkandar. Dexter set up his operation in that tower over near the farms, right? So there's a lot of this kind of stuff that we don't really exactly know. It'd be nice to have a little bit more explanation. Now, I've not played the Valea, or whatever it's called, mod, where it's her story and everything. And if that is accurate, then that might fill in some of the blanks as well. It's hard to say. Anyway, though, so if you guys have questions like that, or questions about Elix that don't spoil things, oh, and also questions about Gothic that don't spoil Gothic 3 for me, okay? So I have two requests. Don't spoil Gothic 3, and don't spoil Elix, okay? Do that and we're good, hopefully, okay. Anyway, so that will be this coming Monday. We're doing a Skype interview again. So get your questions in if you've got them. Make sure that I have them so I can ask him those during the course of the interview. I'll also come up with my own set of questions, of course. And I think this time, because last time I gave him trivia, I think I'm going to email him and see if he can come up with trivia to ask me. That would be kind of fun, I think, too. My plans are coming together. Oh, I also wanted to let you know, so I did my 24-hour Halo stream, of course, and we'll do like we did last year, where after the stream, I continued the games later. There were a couple of problems. So the software I use to stream is called OBS Studio. There's this annoying habit the software has. When it has an update, it seems like it always resets changes I've made back to default settings. So, for example, not this last weekend, but so about a week and a half ago, the weekend right before my Halo stream, there were a lot of lag problems, both for Tacoma as well as for Leth. And then the first two games during my Halo stream, Craven Manor and Stasis, both of those had severe lag problems too. Well, turns out I had updated my OBS software and it had reset my bit rate. So basically, I was trying to send a ton of information across the internet, but you guys have your own connections. They're not going to download, I don't even know what the equivalent is, 4K video equivalent or something. So your connection's probably not going to download that fast, right? So you get the stream starts out maybe okay, but then it gets progressively worse. Pretty soon it's pretty much unwatchable, right? It's like a frame, 30 seconds later, frame, 30 seconds later. It's horrible, right? So because I fixed that after the first two games, the rest of the stream I think went fine. So I'm going to those two games, since we just started with part one, I'm just going to start the games over. At whatever point. Not right away, but whatever point I start playing them, doing the playthrough, I'm just going to start them over, okay? So that way, you don't have to worry about those parts. So I'm actually going to delete the first part of Stasis and the first part of Craven Manor from my channel. So don't bother trying to watch it. It's basically unwatchable anyway, like I said. So I'll delete those, and then I'll just stream them some other time later. Probably not this year, I'm guessing, because I'll probably just try to continue playing through some of the games that were okay on the Halo stream. So it'll probably be sometime in 2018, but I'll just start those over. So just don't worry about that, but those are going to be deleted. I'm also going to delete the parts of Tacoma from the previous weekend, as well as the part of Leth from the previous weekend. And I can't really replay the part on Leth because I've moved forward and it auto-saves, but I'll just kind of summarize at the beginning so you know. Not a whole lot happened before I realized it was a big problem. So we'll just kind of summarize what had happened and then continue on with Leth. Nothing real. I mean, we didn't encounter the monster or anything, for example, so it's fine. And then with Tacoma, I'm still in that same section of the station, so I should be able to just go and get those dialogues again and replay everything, so you don't really miss anything that way either. So it should be okay on those, but I'm going to erase the parts I had that are really crappy quality as well and just redo them, except for Leth, of course, like I said. So, I believe that's everything. Thanks for watching, thanks for your patience, and I will see you guys next time I upload a video. I'll talk to you then, or I'll talk to you on my next stream, whenever that may be. Should be this coming weekend, at least, continuing the normal streaming I was already doing. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video, whatever that may be. Till next time.